Hi there, just a video response to your video response to your review of the Bible. Sorry for the way I look. I just woken up and as soon as I woke up, this was like fresh in my head, like so. Like I said, I mean, I know you're not claiming to like be interpreting anything, or it's just a review of what you can read. But it's a shame though. I don't want you to sort of just get to a point, because it's quite hard to read the Old Testament and get a bit disillusioned. I mean, it's fantastic stuff, I mean, like I was saying in a comment, a lot of people don't realise who the person who wrote this, or the one that people agree on, is Moses. And that's just, well, put it this way, Egypt, everybody loves Egypt, everyone loves the pyramids, everyone loves the Sphinx and stuff. If they knew that Moses was basically trained in all the Egyptian arts, in the writing, Moses knew the secret of why the pyramid was the way it was, why the holes in the pyramid point up to the Great Nebula and Orion, why the pyramids are laid out like Orion's belt. Moses knew all this stuff because he grew up in the palace of the Egyptians. He knew how they got all the stones there. He probably watched it, it's so amazing, the Bible, because you can't really, you do need to know the world it was written in. Moses had just come out of a place that had built these pyramids, and they were built over 450 years by slaves, by Hebrew slaves, because they knew something, the Hebrew slaves. And later on, the Hebrews became the Jews, who the Nazis captured. And all this mad stuff that the Nazis come out with, all these wacky ideas, and a lot of them are now in place now. A lot of them have been abused and used for mind control and stuff. They got it from the Jews, because they're, the stuff, they're just like tapped onto stuff, But I think you've got to appreciate that Moses grew up in the Pharaoh's palace. There's a million things I could say about that, because it's incredible. But he was learned in all these things. So when he sat down to write this, you've got to sort of take things in that world, the context of the world they lived in. And I don't know, I don't even know how I'm going to explain this. It's all in my head, but it's just incredible. So I'm just going to go from 1 to 3 as fast as I can, but hopefully you pick up on I've been a Christian for 5 years now, 5-6 years. So I'm just going to run through it with things that have stood out for me in 5 years, because I've been reading this section for 5 years, and the old Bible I've been reading flat out completely, especially stuff like that's my Bible. You can sort of see the kind of depth of the things I get into. There's worse ones than that, mind. Okay, so just Genesis 1 to 3 from a Christian's point of view. A lot of these things I truly believe were revealed to me by revelation from the Holy Spirit. So I'm not claiming to be clever or anything. These are stuff I've gone for a walk up the mountain, and it's just like hit me like a bolt of lightning what this means. And as I've said about, it's impossible without the key. The key is the New Testament. In Matthew, when Jesus turns up, a lot of people think he was a good man and a good teacher, and he taught us how to live. He was interpreting stuff in the Old Testament. He was interpreting the prophecies about himself. So a lot of this, people read into this and try to find an answer for other things, like, so where are the dinosaurs? Where's this? Where's that? I don't want to swear, but the Bible, God doesn't care about explaining that stuff. Why should he have to prove anything to us? God doesn't inspire this to prove that he exists. God doesn't care. This is here to show us how Jesus Christ got into the world. If God was to explain all the other things, like the physics of stuff and dinosaurs and how many books do you think it would take to do all that? Especially for people as feeble-minded as us. So this is just the primary importance. This is the message. It was a mystery for a long time. I was reading, Paul says in Ephesians, which is a bit later on in the New Testament, here we go. He says in Ephesians 3:4, it says, in reading this, then, you will be able to understand my insight, Paul's insight, into the mystery of Christ, which was not made known to men in other generations, as it has now been revealed by the Spirit to God's holy apostles and prophets. So he's saying that this was not made known to other generations. So even Moses and all these other people, they didn't know this stuff. So they only wrote what they were told to write. But it all means something. So anyway, just to cut through it. Sorry about the afro, that's how we roll. Okay, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Now, the book of Genesis is a Greek word, means beginnings. But the true title to this book is the title, because it explains it. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Full stop. Okay, that's the title of the book, the true title. Genesis is just like an overview of it, which was added. That was added later on, but the true title is that. Okay, and now, right, the first thing I want to get to here, it's so deep. See, I'm not afraid to share my faith or anything, but some things I don't think would be profitable explaining because they're too deep. Okay, the first point I want to get to is light. Okay, the concept of light. Verse 3, and God said, let there be light, and there was light, and God saw the light was good and separated the light from the darkness. God called the light this day, and he called the darkness night. As you know, on day 4, God made the sun, and the stars, and the moon, and the lights in the heaven. Right, so this light here is not the sun. He's not talking about the sun. He's talking about, to interpret this in a Christian way, in the book of John. Let's get to John a minute. Well, I'm getting there. When Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, the life, when he says, I am the light of the world, he's not just saying like mad stuff, he's interpreting the Bible. So this light that isn't the sun or the moon is Christ. He was there in the beginning by his admission. But I like the book of John because it's got like a Christian overview of Genesis. Alright, this is what John says, the first thing. Remember I said in the beginning God created heaven and earth? This is like written by the Apostle John. He was an incredible person. He was given great insight. This is his interpretation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Now you might be, so this thing, the Word, this character, the Word, was with God in the beginning. So there was two there. We find out there's two. There was God and there was the Word. Now word in the Greek is logos, which means the meaning, the explanation. So in the beginning was the meaning, the explanation for all this. And as you go on, you start to realize, well, I'll read it. This is who the Word is. This is it. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. So there's your light in the beginning. It's Jesus Christ. He's also called the Word, the Logos, the meaning. And it says that in him was life. And that life is the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not understood it. That's why people can't understand this stuff, because they don't understand the light. And as I said, Jesus lays claim to be the